3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
That was a fast 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Yeah, I know. I hit a button too fast.
You're usually either really slow with it or really fast.
Well, I like to build suspense, but today I missed being here last week so much that I just hit the button a little too quick.
You
So,
got excited.
3, 2, 1,
Trigger happy today, huh?
I did. Fast on the draw, so to speak.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, sir.
How was your holidays and New Year's? Because I did miss you last week. We didn't get to hang out.
Yeah. Everything was really, really fun. 100 miles an hour, parties and dinners and so on and so forth. We were down at my sister's, middle of the state for Christmas. We were in Naperville the day after. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Maggie and I have a tradition that's always a lot of fun.
I saw steak and lobsters, right?
Yeah, we do New Year's Day. We always do lamb chops, lobster tails, some vouv, and just kind of stay in our pajamas, watch the Rose Bowl parade. Because we took her to the Rose Bowl parade 2 years ago for her 80th birthday. It was a bucket list thing she wanted to do. So now every New Year's morning, we always make sure to watch the parade. It's a lot of fun. And just, kind of relax.
Maggie says hello from Cancun.
Yeah, poor girl. Not poor girl, but poor girl. She's working today, and she's doing what's called a turn. So she checked in this morning. She flies to Cancun, drops all those people off, doesn't even get a chance to get off the plane, and then reloads the plane and comes right back. She'll be home 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. But yeah, she sees palm trees, but can't go out. I'm
seeing some of the broadcasting issues going out, so maybe I'll just tell everybody because we're going to probably end up re-airing this in one long stream since we have it recorded. The internet here changed, unbeknownst to us, during the holidays, so it's possible that you guys are getting a somewhat interrupted feed. If you do have an interrupted feed, we're going to be reposting this entire thing in its entirety with Jordan after the show. So bear with us in the feed. It will be fixed next week, but we will repost the entire thing as soon as the show's over and John can take the whole thing and pull it.
Work my magic. How about you? How were the holidays?
Good. Pretty relaxing. I spent it with family for the most part. Drank a little bit, partied a little bit in between New Year's and Christmas, but for the most part, just hung out with Mom and Dad. Didn't really travel anywhere. I'm getting antsy to book a trip someplace, but it's been. I'm overdue.
Minutes. Yeah.
It's been 2 months from Tahiti till now, so I got to go someplace warm.
I'm with you, man. Let me know where we're gonna go.
Since the feed is interrupting, should we just jump in with Jordan? You got any shout-outs?
Well, all the people that had to work over the holidays, fire, police, everybody that we take for granted, but the holidays ramp up aggression, and I mean it ramps up a lot of good stuff, but a lot of aggression, and so big shout out to all of them, and just family and friends. I hope everybody had a great holiday season, and now it's back to work and kicking ass in 2019.
Awesome. Well, I'll piggyback your shout out. He always one-ups my shout-outs, like, every single time. Like, it's always, like, police, fire, first responders. I'm like, well, shit, I can't, like, shout-out his, hey, like...
he sets the bar high.
He does every single time. But an announcement, we do have our website coming up soon. It's being built. So for all of you guys who like watching our show, we're going to have a website that has... all of our past episodes. It's going to have smaller clips of our past episodes. It's going to have the audio of our past episodes too. Right now, you can download us on iTunes. You can download us on Spotify. You can download us on, what's the other one?
Google Play.
Yeah, Google Play. But
Stitcher.
Stitcher. I always forget Stitcher. I don't know what the hell Stitcher is. But and John's working on iHeartRadio. So if you want to go through the audio side of our shows, you can. If you're going for a run like Jordan does sometimes or every single day because he does 5Ks every day. Boom. Check out his Instagram. You'll see.
Ladies.
The audio version's great. I know some of our friends can't actually watch live, and sometimes when our feed gets interrupted, very rarely, you can just download the audio and listen to what we have to teach you guys.
Right. All good stuff.
All good stuff in the works. So WheelHouse is going big time.
The the affiliate program we're putting together. So to everybody who watches the show, you know that we've had a lot of great entrepreneurs, product services, and a lot of them have asked us, great, how do we advertise with you other than just doing commercials? So we put together an affiliate program. So we're going to get you some great products, great services, and save you some money.
I'm just letting everybody know because people are starting to text me because people actually do watch WheelHouse.
Awesome.
Internet issues here, but we will have the whole show uploaded soon. There we go. We do have a lot of fans watching because people are texting me like crazy.
We'll keep them waiting.
Keep them waiting. The only thing that they
Suspense.
won't be able to do is maybe tease the crap out of you in real time.
That's true.
We'll do that.
That could be a good thing.
It might be a good thing. All right, I'm going to get into Jordan
Yeah,
because
let's bring
he
him on.
is a guy who I could probably talk to. I say this all the time, but I am certain I can talk to Jordan for hours upon hours because he's a good friend of mine. We also think a lot alike when it comes to fitness, goal setting, the way we run our businesses. So thank you, Jordan, from Pyle Residential. He's the current YPN vice chair. He's an all-around great guy. He does a lot of stuff with Alzheimer charities. He is Mr. August. In the
God.
Men of, you thought I was not going to bring that up,
I always
Mr.
forget about
August.
that one.
In the Men of Chicago real estate calendar, you can buy your calendars now and just flip to August and leave it at August the whole year to just stare at Jordan topless. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys. Love what you guys are doing here at WheelHouse. So it's an honor to be on the show.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming. We've wanted to have you on for a while.
Yep.
I'm excited to have you on. You're literally the first guy of the year, and it worked out pretty good because Jordan and I were talking yesterday about a couple things we wanted to get across, and you brought up goal setting, which is near and dear to me, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. How are your holidays and New Year?
They were good, man. Just relaxing. Was a pretty went pretty hard last year, just staying focused. So to be able to go home, hang out with friends, family, short, 3 or 4 days. But it was good, man. I'm ready to go, ready to recharged and rejuvenated, and just kind of ready to take 2019 by storm. So
Yeah, well, you've been taking I've known Jordan now, was it 3 years ago you boxed in the Rumble?
yeah, I think it's 3 years ago,
Yeah.
2015, I believe it was.
Crazy how
Yeah.
fast time flies. But watching you go from being on, I think at that point, a real estate team, right?
Yeah, so I was working with one other guy at Jameson Sotheby's at the time.
Yeah,
Correct.
to essentially now you're with Keller, you have Pyle Residential, and you're kicking butt. Your growth has been crazy. I remember grabbing lunch with you. I think it was right after you boxed, and you had all these plans. And I meet with realtors all the time, and tons of realtors have plans. Every realtor has a plan, and then the plan typically falls apart very, very quickly. You've taken it, and you've just kind of kicked ass big time on an exponential level. So it's awesome.
No, I appreciate that, and just so everyone knows, obviously there's so much more to get done. So the way I look at it is, we're just getting started. But thank you for acknowledging that. It's been a lot of hard work, and like I said, the work doesn't stop, so we just got to keep pushing forward.
What do you think about, I'll talk about the real estate market quickly. What do you think about the real estate market going into 2019? I had, over Christmas and New Year's, I always get people who are like, you get together like, oh, what's happening with the real estate market? The rates went up. Is real estate going to tank? And I'm like, relax, it's not going to tank.
Yeah, no, it's a conversation I've been having literally, I feel like 3 or 4 times a day, especially, through the fall and now into the year. In my personal opinion, and I know it's backed by statistical evidence and things like that, we are entering a shift. But a shift shouldn't be a scary thing.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people think when they hear shift, they start freaking out. However, I think we're coming back to more of a normal market. So in the last, 5 years, essentially since I've been in this industry, we have been in an extreme seller's market for most price points throughout the city of what most brokers are focusing on. Luxury stuff's a little bit of a different situation, but now we're starting to see more sellers come off the fence. Interest rates are starting to tick up a little bit. So I think we're going to kind of come back a little bit towards the equilibrium, but I'm calling it an opportunity market. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity out there, both for buyers, sellers, and investors.
I love that. And I think what the problem people run into is people's memories are very short term. So people think to themselves, oh my God, real estate crashed from '08 to 12. It was only 4 years, and it needed a shift upwards to balance out that crash. I tell everybody, the precursors that led into that crash, they're gone. They're not there. Before, if you had a pulse and a credit score, you could get a loan with no money down, and they didn't even do a background check on your credit and or a background check on your income. But those precursors aren't there. But a good market should shift. And I love that you said it's a shifting market. I haven't heard that term used yet, but it's a smart one. It should shift towards a more normal market. If it just went up unchecked, that can be a very, very dangerous thing.
Yeah, and when you get to that point where home values aren't being supported anymore, when you're getting multiple offers and everything, that is essentially inflating prices over to where they should be. That's not good, right? So
Right.
I think now that we're starting to come back, there's more inventory hitting the market, interest rates are going up. I think naturally that's going to put some downward pressure on home prices. But like I said, not in a bad way, more in
Right.
just a normal historical cycle type of sense.
And it's like you said, it's a good thing. I mean, the going 10% over market value in a multiple offer situation, I never let my clients do it. I would just do a CMA and say, guys, like, this is ridiculous. This is too much to pay. But I was seeing it happen all the time. It happened on some of my listings. My sellers were, happier than pigs and shit. They were like, oh, great, this is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting, 40,000 over my asking price. I never expected that. I expected 10 or 15 below it. But I agree. If that goes away, it's going to really create a much better equilibrium, like you said.
Yeah, I think overall 2019 is going to be a great year for real estate. I think it's going to start out hot and may cool off a little bit as we enter the summer market, which it normally does. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year for everyone.
I love it. And interest rates, too. I'll touch on this, and I think you might probably have the same opinion I do, but I'm curious to hear it. Again, short-term memories. People in 2013, 14 who got 3% interest rates are like, this sucks. But if you go further back from that, when people were in the teens or in the high 7, 8, 9% rate, it's relatively low. And I always tell people, what's the alternative? You're going to rent? Rental rates are high. So you're going to be tossing money out as a renter when you could be building equity, paying down your principal, getting tax write-offs, whereas a rental rates are so high now it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head there. I think it's very situational. I don't think you can just blanket cover everything and say it's good to buy or it's good to sell. I think it depends on your situation. Are you staying in Chicago? Do you have adequate reserves at the bank? What is your situation both financially and then what is it in terms of your familial or different life kind of checkpoints? And if that makes sense for you to purchase today, like you said, at least you're paying down your own mortgage and not somebody else's.
Right.
So.
All right. Jordan's the man to talk to if you guys are thinking about buying a place. And we haven't talked about the real estate market, but it's crazy how much we kind of see eye to eye on that. So I'm excited to see you kick butt again this year, watching how much your sales have grown, watching how much your knowledge in real estate has grown to a point that, you're essentially an authority on this stuff now. You're an expert on it. Has been awesome. So I'm excited to watch 2019.
Yeah, man, me too.
Guessing your plans are probably pretty big for 2019.
Always got big ones, So this year, though, it's a little bit different. I'm going in with the overall mentality of making things more simple, taking the big goals and chunking them down, which obviously we'll get into later on as well. But feeling real good, man, big goals and just so much to accomplish. And I'm just ready to do it together. I think everyone kind of has the same mentality this year. I feel there's a little bit of this hype that everyone is going to feel pretty good going into 2019.
Well, we said we might not have everybody able to watch and comment, but our good friend and good mentor, Tommy Choi, is watching. He said you forgot to include that you're an Instagram model, Mo. I'm not an Instagram model. This guy's the model. He's in a calendar.
No,
yeah.
He's in a
you're
calendar.
The one, you're self-posting your stuff, though. Let's be clear on the difference here.
Yeah, that's true. You're a real model. I'm just an Instagram model. He's like the actual published
print,
model,
man. Come on.
and I'm just an Instagram model. That hashtag shamelessly. Funny enough, my Instagram posts when I did that you versus the guy the guy she picked or whatever, that meme with me and Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah,
that got me 700 to 800 followers. And my one post had like 800 likes. So I kept baiting Jason Momoa to repost it because he was reposting fan stuff all week. And I was a little bit hungover and had a little free time. So I was just sitting at home and I went with the wine picture and kept going with it.
I was wondering what you're doing with that. But then I saw one of them. I was like, 800,000 likes. I was like, what?
800 likes. And I got like, I'm like at 3,300 followers now. So he didn't repost me because I would have had a lot more followers. But they kind of went viral, mini viral.
Mini viral.
Unconventional strategies.
I know. I'll do whatever I can. Nobody asked me to be in a calendar, so I have to do what I got to do to get my followers.
Yeah, and I will shout that out really quickly to Tony Matar.
Yeah.
He's kind of the brains behind the Men of Chicago Real Estate. So it benefits Chicago House, I don't have all the details on what exactly this money goes towards, but it's all, charity philanthropy event, basically assembled some of the real estate agents throughout the city of Chicago, put it into a fun format in a calendar, just to raise money and awareness for Chicago House. So it's a really cool cause, and Tony is crushing it.
All joking aside, it's a great charitable idea, and I've watched Tony. I mean, Tony's running around doing press.
Yep.
He's on, WGN. He's on ABC, and he's done such a great job of taking this idea, which is fun. I mean, it's a fun idea. It took a bunch of handsome dudes in Chicago, turn it into a calendar, but then selling it for charity. It's a cool
He's
idea.
really blowing it up, which is cool to see. So
Yeah, and it went viral. That went a lot more viral than my bathtub
I'm getting
photo.
texts today still about it. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wait till August.
It's more pictures, just no words, just here's the picture, and they just want me to respond to it.
Well, it's better that you get those photos because my buddies just bust my balls about like my growing up photos of me in glasses and like rec specs like Horace Grant goggles. So
The one thing I'll say is I probably should have taken a little time this summer and actually went and got a tan because I look like a ghost in that picture. But,
you looked all right.
but a little still chiseled, so it's all good.
We'll have to get Tony in here and have him in
Yeah.
here too and just
Yeah,
have
for
him
sure.
talk about that. Maybe we'll shoot the whole thing with him shirtless and
Perfect.
see how many views we can get.
I'm sure he'd love
Not that kind of show. Not that kind of show.
Hey, listen, as I showed by my Instagram, I'll do whatever the hell I have to do for followers, John.
Oh, okay. Do me a favor from this point forward, though. When I'm going to flip through Instagram and see you shirtless in a bathtub, give me a little forewarning. I was drinking coffee,
Just a
nearly spit
surprise.
it out across the room, for God's sakes.
It's
be
meant to be
worse.
shock and awe and surprise, buddy.
It was some shock and it was a lot of aw.
The one that everybody was texting me they had the most fun with was me and the dog. So I had my sister's little dog,
Yeah.
her little dachshund, and then he has these dire wolves. I was going to do one with my dog, but my dog's pretty freaking cool, and he kind of looks like a dire
Maverick,
wolf.
right?
Yeah, Maverick. So I did just the little
The
dachshund.
little one. Woof, woof.
Yeah.
I was thinking it probably took some time and preparation to get all these shots staged and set up.
Well, those were all old pictures except for the wine. The wine, I just saw the Momoa wine one, and I
Okay.
went after it. The one with me being short, that was like a picture I had from way
Well,
back when.
that's always going to be the case. So.
Yeah, I'm never going to grow at this point.
Zing.
On the charity side, another thing you do really well is, and you've started to do really well, you were in the Y panel, we'll touch on that in a second, and that has a whole charity arm to it, but you just did something for Alzheimer's, which was huge. I saw the party. I wasn't there, but I saw the photos of it. That was a serious event you threw.
Yeah, no, super cool, and thanks for bringing it up. It's something I'm super passionate about. So the Alzheimer's Association, the disease in general, it's something that's impacted my family on a personal level. So figured I'd do something in my business that can kind of play towards the philanthropic endeavors. And I thought, what better than something that hits home, right? So basically what I'm doing with that is I threw a party that you're referencing in October. Some of my closest supporters in my network, friends, family, colleagues, basically just to get the word out about this disease. And what I've really found, which is super cool through this process of aligning myself with the association and our partnership, and then planning this event and reaching out to people to help throw the event, like sponsors and other things like that, is every single person I talk to has somebody that has been impacted by the disease. So it's a very scary disease, and there's no cure. So out of the top 6 major diseases in the United States, like breast cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's disease is the only one that is decreasing every year in terms of cures. So all the numbers of affected or impacted individuals are all going down, but Alzheimer's is actually going up.
Wow.
And there's a different multitude of reasons for that. But essentially what I'm doing is going forward in 2019, I basically decided that for every closed sales transaction that I do, I'm going to donate $500 of my personal commission to the Alzheimer's Association, with a goal of raising $30,000 by October 11th of 2019.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You don't see a lot of people doing that. Obviously born from a passion within family, but let us know the next time you have an event. John and I want to push events as much as we can on WheelHouse. It's a part of what we want to do going into 2019. So let us know how we can be a part of that.
I appreciate that.
That's awesome that you're doing that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, as big as we can blow it up, the more good that we can do. So the more people that want to get behind us, I'm all for it.
You should look into, so we talked off air, both Jordan and I are doing a triathlon coming up at at some point this summer, I'm doing the Alcatraz triathlon, but I actually had to join a charity to be able to do it. We already joined the autism one,
Nice.
but there might be an Alzheimer's one. You should look into qualifying. Come out to San Francisco with Lawrence and I.
Yeah, after
You'll
you tell
swim
me about
slowly
the
with the
sharks.
sharks.
Hey, as long as I can outswim you, right?
Yeah, that's right. I will pull you under. Trust me, if
Yeah,
it's me,
no.
you, and a shark.
My swimming skills aren't very good at this point, so
Neither are mine.
we'll have to figure this out as we work through it.
When I did the Chicago Triathlon, I had to sign up as a triple challenge member because I signed up late. And my buddy Sean was there, and there's thousands of people swimming in different heats. And he somehow had all these photos of me swimming the whole mile. I'm like, how did you know it was me? He goes, you were the slowest swimmer with the shortest arms. He goes, so I was just watching for the slowest guy, and then I walked up near the water. I'm like, oh, that's Mo. And then I started taking a bunch of photos.
You make it too easy, man. You make
I
it too
know.
easy.
But that one will be cool.
Yeah.
It's it's longer in distance than an Olympic, but it's not quite a half Ironman. So it'll be a good challenge if you are training for an Olympic.
Yeah, we'll see. You may just have to join you out there at Alcatraz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally a swim from Alcatraz to shore,
I know, that's crazy. What'd you say, a mile and a half?
mile and a half.
So
But the water's cold.
Mile and a half swim
In the
with
ocean.
sharks and waves.
Yep.
And then what's the bike?
Bike is 18, so it's not that long.
Okay, and
And
then,
then the run's 8 miles, so
8
it's
miles.
it's longer. Than
yeah, so
the
it's a little
10K.
unconventional from a Olympic triathlon, but
Yeah.
that's a cool one though.
It's hilly. It's hilly, I heard, and then the swim is the brutal part. 3 years ago, they had a great white shark the day before when everybody was doing their registration pre-check, literally maul a seal in the harbor, and a third of the triathletes just dropped out. It's like, fuck it.
Can't
we're not
blame
doing
them.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Shit. But we're going to look like seals, and we'll be the slowest guys in the back, so the probability that I get eaten by a shark is going to be high. John's going to have to find a new host.
Yeah. The world will continue to go around.
Yeah, somehow WheelHouse will continue without me
So I'm going to start holding auditions in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
for June.
Just to prepare.
Well, it's going to take me a while to fill your shoes.
And you're doing this, you're doing, what is it, a 5K a day for how long?
Yeah, so I was inspired to do a little challenge by a guy out in California. Random guy, never met him. He's also a Keller Williams agent. But yeah, so I'm doing a 5K a day. I'm running a 5K a day for 100 days straight.
That's crazy.
Today was day 23, so I'm at it's like 71.8 miles, I think it was. So I'll be at 310 miles after 100 days.
So I did it for 45 days leading into Tahiti. I was doing a 5K every single day in my basement. But my knees and my lower back, and I have lower back problems, were destroyed. So I would highly suggest start seeing a massage therapist and a chiropractor in between it, because you'll end up, I'm older than you, and I'm fatter than you, so my knees and my back take a little more of a beating. But I was destroyed after it.
Yeah, I mean, so about 15 days into it, I knew that this was going to happen, but for me, it's not even the running. It's not to get in shape. For me, it's a mental thing. It's to show myself I can do something for 100 days straight. And what I've found is through this process, 15 days in, what I was going to say was my feet started killing.
Yeah.
Right now, they're aching when I'm sitting here. But when you're focused on a mission and you want to complete it, you figure out ways to make it happen. But what I've realized through this process is it's so much more than just running a 5K a day for 100 days. I'm only almost a quarter of the way through it, but this time every day has been more of a mental check-in than it is a physical check-in. And what I mean by that is I feel like, and I told someone this the other day, is when I'm running, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to do 3.1 miles, depending who you are and how fast your pace is. But it's almost like you shed off everything that's on your mind the first 10 minutes.
Right.
And then once you hit that halfway point, you start kind of putting different thoughts in your mind and manifesting different things, and it's almost a form of meditation.
Yeah.
So that when I walk off that run, I almost feel like now I'm prepared. I put my body armor on for the day. So it's kind of like priming me for the day. And that's why now, 23 days in, I'm actually looking forward to this run every day, even though today I barely made it through 3.1 without dying on the treadmill. So
Do you do it in the mornings?
I've been trying to more as much as I can. But I started the challenge over Christmas too. So Christmas Day, I was out there trekking along 3.1. So really At the end of the day, it's just get it in every single day, no matter what time of day it is.
So you're pretty big on goal setting, and you have a pretty. I'm making a presumption here. I think you have a pretty structured life, because most people who are successful business people, life gets crazy and your day goes in a million different directions. So the structure might not seem that outwardly organized, but I'm sure you have like a structure of stuff. Walk me through like a Jordan Pyle more. Are you a morning guy? Do you do stuff in the morning?
I am, which I never used to be. I've always been naturally a night owl, but in I would say the last 3 years, really, the first 2 years in this business were just trial and error.
Yeah.
Like I was 22, 23 years old, didn't really know what I was doing in terms of business, goal setting, any of that. Then I read Miracle Morning, and people, basically preach this stuff, but
I know the Keller Williams boys do.
They do, and it's so true though. Like I used to be the guy where I'd love my time at night, where I can just sit around and kind of sulk in the day and finish some things, have my laptop on my computer, and now I'm making an effort to shut it down at 11 p.m. so I can get to bed, so I can do my morning routine. So yeah, I mean, typical day for me is waking up at 4:44 in the morning. Sometimes that stretches to about 5, but 4:44, 4 is my lucky number, so I was like, let's just make that mean
All
something. And that gives me enough time to basically get to the gym. For example, today, some days I'll run, some days I'll lift, some days I'll do both. So today I actually hit legs and then did my 3.1 after. After the gym, I'll go and immediately meditate. I use the app Calm.
Yeah.
I used to use Headspace.
I've used
I've been
Headspace.
switching it up lately though. Calm's a little bit different, so I would say check both of those out. But then I meditate, and meditation has been something that I think has changed a lot for me, not only in sense of clarity, but in terms of gratitude and just being appreciative and thankful for everything that I have. And then from that meditation, I typically go into reviewing my goals, usually reading a small excerpt of something, basically running through I forget the actual acronym for the.
I've never read
it's
the Miracle
the
Morning,
SAVERS acronym. So it's silence, it's affirmations, it's visualization, it's exercise, and then there's 2 more. I forget what they are. So basically from there, I get ready for the day, head to the office, and I try to be there by 8:30, 9 a.m.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I want to read the Miracle Morning. Maybe I'm going to bump that to the top of my list here, because I am a night owl. I do almost everything at night, and I feel it's because by the time I wake up, everyone's bugging me, but I wake up late enough where everybody else is awake. So I feel like if I switched it to way early, I probably wouldn't be bothered, just like I don't get bothered too much between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But I could do that between 4 and 7, because I am getting to the point that I'm getting older, and I have my gym bag packed, and I start going home, and I'm like, F it. Like,
Yep.
I've had a long day. I don't want to do it. My back hurts. I make a million excuses where I never used to do that, and it was probably because I was just younger and could get away with it.
Yeah, and I used to have that same mentality as like, I got all the time in the world, just not having family and kids and all of these other things. But really what I realized is doing this stuff in the morning, like you said, the uninterrupted hours, no one's sending emails, no one's blowing your phone up between the hours of 5 and 8 a.m., right?
Better not, unless there's some sort of asshole.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are,
Yeah.
but and sometimes you got to put those fires out. But I think another thing is, communicating that with your clients and with people in your life, that these are my sacred hours. And I know that if I wake up at the right time and stay disciplined and focused on that morning routine, my day is going to be a home run. And then by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, or 8:30, when everyone starts yapping,
Yeah.
then you already accomplished the 2 or 3 hardest things of your day.
Were you a big snoozer? Because that's my biggest problem, I feel like, is I will snooze for an hour until I finally wake up.
Yeah. Huge snoozer. Lately I've been working, that's been a huge point of focus for me, is putting my phone across the room so that I actually have to get out of my bed, stand up, freeze my ass off,
Yeah.
and basically force myself at that point. You have to make a decision.
What do you sleep in a fucking igloo?
Walk back to your bed, or do you get up and get in the shower and make shit happen?
Yeah.
And that's a choice you have to make every day. But I've experienced with both working out and doing this stuff in the morning and at night. And I find that I tend to make way more excuses if I don't get it done in the morning.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's more sustainable, so that when you do have family, kids, other things, other obligations, bigger businesses down the line, you're making sure that you're taking care of yourself before you can go take care of other people.
I like it. I think I could learn something from that, and I think it's something that I have to start to – it's got to be a goal I got to set. So my take always on goal setting is you have to break things down. And I know you're passionate about this, and I use the term in my office, winning the week. And I say, hey, listen, I always use the same example. If I told you I had to lose 50 pounds, I'm getting fat enough that might be a reality for me right now. But if I said I had to lose 50 pounds, you'd look at me and say, holy shit, that's a lot of weight. But if I told you I got to lose 1 pound this week, you and John would look at me and say, don't eat Chipotle this week, dumbass. Run a couple miles and you'll lose a pound. A pound a week for 52 weeks is 52 pounds. So I always say if you lose a pound, if you break your goals down into winning the week and you win enough weeks, you're going to eventually win the year. So that's how I always break down my goals. I'm interested to know how you, and I do that for everything from my law firm to what John and I are doing here to my real estate sales to my office's sales and how much coaching and training I'm doing. I'd be interested to get your take on kind of how you deal with your goals.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you just said, and I think it's absolutely critical because people like us, we have these big goals and we want to set these big goals, but then you get into the day-to-day of it and they sometimes start to feel daunting, or you have a bad week or a bad day or a bad month, and now you feel like you're way out of range. So this has been a huge learning experience for me, and specifically in the last 12 months, and it kind of comes back to the 100-day challenge as well, and I'll tell you how I'm incorporating this in. But I agree. You start with an annual goal, and I credit Keller Williams and all their goal setting resources and different things. The One Thing.
Yeah,
if you haven't
great book.
Read that book, that's an amazing book. That's a little bit more like the day-to-day, like in the now. How do you prioritize your time to stay focused and not distracted? But we also use other resources basically to take an annual goal for whatever it is, personal, financial, health, spiritual, whatever it is, contribution goals, and break it down into quarters, and then you break it down to months, to weeks, and then to your day. So I do agree with you in the fact that it's all about winning the week, but more importantly, this year, I'm very focused on winning the day. So what are the for me, it's 3 or 4 things every single day that if I do those, and they're not all business related, but if I do these 3 or 4 things, the day is a win, even if everything else goes terribly.
Right.
So to kind of sum that up and tell you how that equates to like making a big goal manageable is, my goal for 2019 is to sell 48 transactions. So 48 sales transactions. Seems like a big goal for me. For some people that may be a small goal. But when
It's a huge goal.
Yeah, but when you break it down, it's essentially a deal a week.
Right.
And then really where I've come with that is like, okay, in order to do 48 transactions, how many people do I need to talk to today?
Right.
And that number is right around that 20 people a day mark. So as long as I check that box and I talk to those 20 people today, that's going to compound into tomorrow. And then those 7 days will compound to that week. And that is winning the week. And then you pile 4 of those together. Now you've won the month. And you can see how that can kind of scale throughout the quarters in the year.
No, I love that. I actually, before I go to sleep, I respond to all the emails from the beginning of the day that I need to respond to because you might miss them. Yeah. And then I put 5 things on my phone I have to get done the next day. Same thing. They might not be the 5 most important things in my day, but they're 5 things that I know are going to set me up for success. And then my day is not complete unless I erase all those 5 and then put 5 new things. So I love that. I think we probably see very much eye to eye on that.
Yeah, and I think I used to be the guy that would build out these huge to-do lists, right? And there's 30 things on the list, and it just seems very overwhelming. By the end of the day, there's actually more on the list than you had going into the day.
Yep.
You're never going to get ahead that way, and you always feel like you're racing and you're chasing it, right? So I do the same, but I'm actually doing this now, and I have an accountability partner, a superior in my company that I respect highly, that I have to send him what we call our 411, which is essentially an accountability form. I have to send him that Monday morning by 9 a.m. every week. And what that is it's basically taking my task list of 30 or 40 items, which I call my collection bucket. Basically any idea I think throughout the course of the day, I throw it on the sheet. And then every night and every week, I look at the sheet and prioritize what are the top 5 or 6 things this week that need to get done above all else.
I love it.
And then I go a step further is now I put those and I schedule those in my calendar. And then as long as those are scheduled, like I said, do the work when it's scheduled in your calendar. And then if you have blank space or white space in there, as long as you get those 6 things done, you can go do whatever you want with your time.
No, I love that. And you're taking my favorite quote, a goal without a plan is just a wish. and you're breaking it down into just the smallest micro elements of it, and that's awesome. And that I'm glad you have an accountability partner. That's something this year that I am tasking myself with, because I'm an accountability partner for so many people, and I keep myself accountable, but I don't have somebody else just constantly being like, hey, you're not doing this. Hey, you're not doing this.
Yeah.
John, actually, I got to give John some credit, because John has kind of done that to me in the last month or so. He's been, he's been a driving force behind me getting an assistant, because he's like, hey, listen, I know how busy you are, but there's things that you want to do that you're not able to do because you simply too busy. It's not that you're effing off and not working, but there's tasks that you're missing. And I think being able to have somebody to hold you accountable for things is super, super important, because all too often business owners get to a point in their lives where they're getting successful and they're like, well, this is working for me. But somebody else from the outside could look at it and say, hey, dude, you got to change something, or you got to do something better. And it takes you to that next level.
Yeah, I think surrounding yourself with accountability is absolutely critical. So I describe it as I've built a bunker around my goals and my dreams and aspirations. So I have different ways of doing that. People is one way, like having people that are accountability partners. I have 3 or 4 of them for different things that I'm doing in my life, whether that's my actual production, whether that's my young professional related involvements, or that's my charity. Whatever the case may be, is I have someone that holds me accountable to those specific things. But also there's accountability, for example, my running.
Yeah.
I'm not posting on Instagram every day to show everyone that I'm running every single day.
I did when I posted.
Well, that's a side effect of it, right?
Of course.
But really, it's myself having to go in, write it in there, because now when I complete it, you get this sense of gratification.
Of course.
Of okay, I proved to myself I did another day.
Yep.
And you don't want to break the streak once you get started.
I agree. I think habit forming, and I think I like what you said about 100 days of doing something. Once you can keep yourself accountable to build a habit, I think life completely changes. And I think one of my biggest issues, we have this, John's going to do the fitness challenge with me. I have one coming up on the 15th. It's 8 weeks. And I won a half of the fitness challenge last year. And then I look back on my year, at the end of this year, like I do every year, said, where was I successful? Where did I fail? I said, man, I did so well. And then I started making excuses for myself. Oh, I had a relationship fall apart. And I started going out. I was eating. I was drinking. I was doing things that were really messing up my fitness. But then I let that go. I could have just ran with it, maybe at a lower level, but built a habit of fitness in my lifestyle. And I let that go. And one of the things I want to be very purposeful about this year is building things that become habit forming, not so much you're on the gas and then you just jump right off the gas again.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more with you. And that is the 100-day challenge. Essentially, it's what I've learned. Some people say it's 21 days.
No, I think that's too short.
What I've learned is 66 days is what creates a habit. 100 days is just the icing on the cake. So you're solidifying that habit. So one thing I'm doing different this year, and it all started with this running challenge, was I talked about the 48 transactions. My year this year consists of 4 separate years, essentially. And those are the quarters.
Okay.
So I'm doing everything. 100 days is essentially a quarter, right?
Yep.
90 to 100 days. So I have basically established in different sectors of my life. So in my business, like I said, in my finances, in my personal, in my health and fitness, what is the one thing I can do for 100 days in order to ingrain that habit in my subconscious?
I like that.
So that you're not thinking about having to do it anymore. And I'm glad we're talking about this, because I want to give a shout out to the book Atomic Habits. It's by James Clear.
Okay.
It's a brand new book. I encourage everyone to read it ASAP.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits.
Okay.
And it's all about goal setting and building habits, essentially. But what I like about what he talks about is it's about habit stacking. So you think about the course of your day, right? There's already things that are in your life that you already have habits of doing. So maybe when you put your shoes on, you always put your left shoe on before your right.
I do.
You had to think about that because it's subconscious, right?
Right.
So by leveraging the subconscious things that you already have in your life and then building a new habit off of that particular task or that item is the way that you can now always remember to do that new habit. So let me put that in perspective. You finish brushing your teeth. You put your toothbrush down on the counter. that triggers my new habit of wanting to floss every single day. So now as soon as I put my toothbrush down, I pick up the floss pick and I floss the teeth. And then as soon as you master those habits, you can eventually build other ones on top of that. So then maybe after that, I go chug 2 glasses of water, you know? So you're using these different triggers that you already have in your life to basically enhance them and take them to the next level by slowly adding new things in.
I love that.
So the first 100 days of this year, basically what I've boiled it down to make the day a win, to win the day, there's 3 things I need to do. I need to run my 5K. That takes care of my health and fitness goal, and my bigger goals there, because that all compounds. I have to make 20 contacts to people in my database a day. That will make sure everything else in my business will come to fruition. And then I have to meditate every day. I get to meditate every day. And I know that by doing that, my spiritual life and my clarity around what I want and kind of the way I carry myself, as long as I do those 3 things, the day's a win, and I've maximized that day, essentially.
I love it.
And not overcomplicated it.
I learned a lot from you. I'm going to read that Atomic Habit book.
Yeah, you should.
Because one of the things that I did okay last year, but not as good as I would have liked, was to get enough reading done. You know, I listen to Audible quite a bit, and John and I love asking for book recommendations from people that come on the show. And you mentioned the one thing which I've read, another fantastic
I'm a
goal
book freak,
book.
so anything you need, I got the books.
Yeah, no, I love it. You know, my buddy Lawrence, he constantly is sending me books to read and stuff. He's like 3-4 books a week. He's a machine. Yeah. And he actually reads them. I listen to him on Audible now. But Atomic Habit, I'm going to bump that. And I'm going to bump the Miracle Morning kind of towards the front of my to-do list too, because I think that change for me, and I think for a lot of people, will make a big, big difference in their lives. Yeah. And I'm just getting old and tired. I just don't like being up till 2, 3 in the morning.
It's just a different way. Atomic Habits in particular is just a different way to look at things that you already know, and it's kind of dumbed down version. And I've been telling people, like, bump that to your top of your list. I listen to books too. I don't really read that much because I've found that I've basically turned my car into like
learning tool.
My learning zone, right? So anytime I'm in my car, anytime I'm on my run in the morning, I'm listening to something, whether it's a podcast or a book.
I was going to ask you if you listen to podcasts.
Oh, I eat podcasts up. I mean, so I actually just did this the other day because I was just curious as we're kind of starting the new year. So I read 22 books in 2018.
That's pretty good.
And my goal for 2019 is to do 40. And when I say read, that's listening and reading, a combination of that. But anytime I don't have a hot book like on the queue, I'm in a podcast.
It's all I do now. I barely watch TV. I watched a couple movies over the holidays. I watched Bird Box, which sucked. I
don't know what all this hype's about yet.
It's really bad. Whoever likes it, sorry, that movie sucked. Did you watch it, John?
I have not yet.
It's a slow, dumb movie that doesn't really lead anywhere. But
I keep seeing all these posts about it, and I just like haven't even taken the time to go and like research why everyone is talking about this movie.
I mean, great memes from it. We got like some of the best. Those blindfold memes are the best. But the movie was dumb. But for the most part, at night, I love watching Joe Rogan's podcast. I learn a lot from watching him. I know John watches him a lot too. Yeah. I watched Ferris a little bit, but I've been watching Brendan Schaub's The Fighter and the Kid a little bit, but just a ton of stuff. And I think I probably 90% of my TV time is podcast time now.
I don't even watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll throw a video podcast on to
That's what I do.
emulate that
podcast.
I think I saw you actually put it up on your TV, like your big TV.
Yeah.
Which I should probably do that too. But another really good one, just because I know you talked about recommendations. Impact Theory.
Okay.
By Tom Bilyeu. He's the founder or co-founder of Quest Nutrition. Really, really inspiring dude. Just really has mastered the interviewing like style and process. So he's just able to ask questions that go super deep with his guest. And he's having really well-known people on there, like Mel Robbins, for example, the 5-second rule. So that's another really good one. And then Ed Milet has Max Out.
Okay.
That's his podcast. Those are kind of two I've been interchanging with right now a lot.
Yeah, it's not, you watch some of these podcasts and they have some really influential guests. We do too. We have local influencers.
We do. We have Jordan Pyle.
No, I mean, listen, like I'm learning a lot from Jordan. I can't wait to re-air this. We have so many people who like, I'll show this to you. Like people are tuning in. Usually it's not that green constantly. To the little bits and pieces that aren't streaming well, but we're gonna recut this and air the whole thing in its entirety. And we're going to boost this thing because there's so much that I learned from you. And I coach and train, and I'm an accountability partner, and I like to read. But the way you manage your day and your goals it's even one step further than I go. I think I've built some things that I think are habits in my life, but I realized that throughout the last year, when I got super busy and I launched WheelHouse and I launched a tech startup, I got to the point that I'm like, holy smokes, they're not really habits. I'm good at winning the week, and I'm good at breaking my goals down, but I'm not good at habit forming things because the things that I thought were habits really weren't, because they went to the wayside as I got too busy. So I'm going to take some of your advice.
Yeah, I think associating like a reward with trying to build a habit.
I love rewards.
So like by saying, okay, when I finish my 100-day running challenge, I'm gonna buy myself a bike so that I can now train for the biking.
I thought you were going to say a car. I was like,
whatever the case, whatever the case may be, giving yourself little wins and rewarding yourself for those wins will make you more likely to do it the next day as well.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start rewarding by some travel time. I want to go see some places and go do some things.
Where you want to go?
To be honest with you, I want to do Hawaii once because I've never been to Hawaii, and everybody kind of rants and raves about Hawaii. I want to race a racetrack in Europe, at least one this year. I want it to be the Nürburgring, which is it's been on my bucket list for a long time. But
Nürburgring?
The Nürburgring.
Sounds,
if you're a car guy,
mouthful.
It's the most dangerous track in the world. It's also 14 miles. It's like the proving ground for all sports cars. Like how fast the newest hypercar makes it around the Nürburgring is like the big thing.
John, I think you need to start getting those interviews going, man.
Yes, once again,
sharks,
interviews
cars,
in April.
Yeah, sharks and race cars.
Yeah.
I got a couple places I got to go race throughout the year. I'm racing with a team this year, so I'm already slated to race 4 or 5 times this year, but hoping to get some more racing done. But I want to do Hawaii, and I want to go someplace else that's tropical. Tahiti was beautiful, very expensive. I know I'm not going to go back for a little while, but I want to find another place that's real remote to go scuba diving, because scuba diving was so much fun that I really want to go dive again.
Yeah, this isn't super remote, but I last New Year's I was actually there this time last year in Cartagena, Colombia.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I remember.
Amazing place.
Yeah.
Had a blast. Went out there with 4 or 5 buddies. It's somewhat tropical. You can get to the crystal blue water, teal water. You have to go off the coast a little bit for it, but just really cool, like melting pot, especially around the New Year. Just people coming in from all different South Americas, and there's people from Europe there, people from the States. So that would be another one if you haven't been there yet.
If I get my jiu-jitsu going, which I should, otherwise my jiu-jitsu teammates are going to keep making fun of me for never coming back. I've always wanted to do a jiu-jitsu tournament in Brazil. I get mopped quickly by a bunch of lumpy-eared Brazilians.
Like jiu-jitsu, isn't it?
But it'll be
jiu-jitsu?
fun to just go down there and just see Brazil, and then also be able to do a tournament like that down there would be cool.
Yeah, traveling is definitely, I've kind of pushed a lot of traveling off. It's something, though, as I'm getting older, that's why we work so hard, is so that we can enjoy our time when we're not working and chasing our goals. So.
For sure. Let's touch on the YPN, because we're almost at an hour, which happens fast with you.
Just tell me to shut up if I talk too much.
No. I love it. No, this has been so good because, to be honest, I think this is exactly the type of show people who are motivated at the beginning of the year need. And I always say motivation, it's never an endless supply for anybody. If you had Bill Gates and you asked him an honest question, he said, hey, are you always motivated? He would tell you no. Yeah. I think motivation, I always equate it to like the power bar of a video game. When it's full, you're operating at 100%, you're fast, you're sharp. As it starts to drop, you naturally slow down. But if you can fall back on systems and habits, like you were saying, when your motivation levels drop, then you're going to get through that point and back to a level where you have high motivation. And I think that's the people poo-poo and crap on the fact that the gym is busy in the first couple months. I don't. Hey, listen, people are motivated. They want to get after it. This is a good time for them to be motivated. Let them run with it. Mm-hmm. But what you're coaching to people is when that dies, because inevitably that's going to die, fall back on these habits that you've taught yourself to become habits and systems. Yeah,
it's like you said, systems, processes, activities, being activity-based. Motion creates emotion.
Yeah.
So, and I'm getting better at this. By no means have I mastered any of the stuff I'm talking about, but I'm becoming very self-aware of how this stuff works and how it can impact someone's life. But motion creates emotion. So as soon as you start doing something, It's better to start than to, be an analysis paralysis and never get anything done. And then building off of that, you start to accomplish things that will then give you motivation to carry forward.
You touched on self-awareness. I tell people the number 2 most important thing about being a business owner outside of having just hard work ethic is being self-aware, because you got to keep yourself accountable. Yeah. John has a question that he wants me to ask you. How did you get into real estate?
How did I get into real
Or how
estate?
did you decide on real estate? Like what made Jordan want to become I'm going to say realtor, but you're a business owner in real estate.
No, I mean, at the time, my answer back 5 years ago was probably different than it is today. Truly, I got in this industry thinking it was $1 million listing New York, or LA, or whatever the other ones are. But I saw real estate as an avenue to be my own boss. I always knew I was an entrepreneurial spirit. I always knew my dad's always been in sales, like kind of was brought up based on hard work, discipline, and knowing that I'm always going to bet on myself. So being in a position to not have a ceiling, to basically not have anyone to technically report to outside of my accountability partners, I see free reign out there to go build a world so big that I can now bring other people into my world that's big enough for them to go out and accomplish all their goals and dreams too. And I saw it as a great way to build a huge database. And I think your database will carry you with you no matter what you're doing. So that's really been my huge focus in real estate, is every single person, and Ryan Serhant actually talks about this. Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listing New York is where else, or what other profession or job or career can any single person walking up and down the street be a potential client? There's very few out there where every single person in this world can be a potential client.
It's true.
So if you think about it like that, and you have that mindset of abundance, that is really exciting to me, and that makes me, or that kind of validated why I got into this industry to begin with.
And you know what else I think is important? And someone asked me this question recently. They said, what you teach realtors all the time. What do you feel like you can't teach somebody? And I'm like, ooh, that's a good question. What can I teach somebody? I thought about it for a second. And I said, to be honest, I can make somebody comfortable about a topic, but I can't teach them personality. And I said, some people are just, they have the ability, and you'll get better at it. I was shy. I couldn't sit here and talk in front of a group of people the way I do now ages ago. But your ability to connect with people, your ability to have that ability to connect one-on-one with somebody and have that personality, I don't think it can be taught. I think you can better it. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. And what you're exceptional at is being able to connect with people. And I've never read that from Ryan, but it's so important to be able to connect with everybody. And your network is your net worth is such an important, business quote. You have to grow your network. Mm-hmm. Otherwise your net worth doesn't grow. And I love that you touched on that, because I think, especially for you, I mean, you can connect with anybody, you can talk to anybody. And I like that. I'm going to walk around town and be like, that could be a client, that could be a client, that could be a client.
Well, I tell people, because and a perfect segue into YPN and my other young professional involvements is I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of new agents, or let's call it maybe less inexperienced agents that are wanting to grow. And I tell them that same thing with Ryan Serhant. Is like, how do I get started? What do I do? And moving for me, when I moved to Chicago to get into real estate, I was 22 years old, fresh out of college. I knew 5 buddies here that I graduated with. So not potential clients, maybe down the road. I didn't know real estate or the city. So the one thing I knew I could control was the amount of people that I met and that I formed deep, meaningful relationships with. So what I tell everyone is get out there and meet as many people as possible. And what you're going to find out is every single person that you meet, you have something you can learn from that person. Or you never know when that door is going to open, or who you may meet that may open a door for you. So bank on anything other than your database. I think you're moving in the wrong direction.
I love it. And you're proof to all the realtors in my office, and then all the other realtors listening, that don't you dare make the excuse that I wasn't born in Chicago like you were. And listen, I give them all that credit. I do have a natural database of people here, so it's easier for me. I'm never going to, lie and say, oh, it should be just as easy for you. It's not. I have a head start. But guys like you, my business partner, Jeff, who came from a small town in Iowa that literally has a blinking light. They don't even have a street light. Came here, became a top producing agent. because you guys went out and you put the effort forth to meet people and do the heavy lifting that it takes to build that database. And a lot of people just don't do that.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely critical. And then taking it a step further and then it's showing up and being a leader in that database and in your community of people. And by giving back to your local community and just to your community or your audience in a leadership fashion, will help, kind of attract the right people into your life. And the people that it doesn't attract, those are the people you probably don't want to be working with anyways, right? Yeah. So I'm a big believer of, law of vibration and energy, and what you put out, you get back.
Yep.
So
yeah, you don't like me, you're probably not going to work with me anyway. So
right.
Who cares?
Why focus on people that you should not be spending your time on, and work with the people that are naturally attracted to you as well.
YPN. Let's touch on that, because I love the fact that you are now the vice chair. When you got involved, I think I was just the incoming vice chair then, and then became the chair, and then you were on last year, and now you're the vice chair, and next year you're going to be the chairperson, the president. Yeah. Can't wait to watch you do your vice chair duties and your president duties, because the YPN's in really good hands with you and Grace. Grace obviously being the chair, and I'm talking about the YPN for car, because I know you're in a different YPN, so I got to differentiate. But the car YPN is in such good hands with you and Grace. I think this year's going to be cool to watch. I'm bummed. I was on it for a long time, so I needed to free up some time, so I'm not on it. I will be at all the events. I'll be sponsoring stuff throughout the year. But what do you guys got planned? I'm excited to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, man. No, and it's super exciting. And, we're just super fortunate to have leaders like yourself that have kind of forged the path before us. So many other people out there, Tommy Choi, who tuned in. Got to give a lot of credit to people like you guys. So thank you for that. But Grace also is just an amazing person.
Rockstar.
So I'm super honored to kind of be her right-hand man this year, to kind of form something super special. And kind of change the industry a little bit. I think we're in a time where things are changing, and there's a lot of opportunity for innovation. So with that being said, we got some really cool events coming this year. Our monthly breakfasts are going to be normal. So we're going to have those, I think, starting in February or March.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. But our next event is actually in January. So it's January 22nd. It's going to be a really cool event. We're calling it the YPN Real Estate Boot Camp. So basically, it's going to be an all-day thing. I think it's 8 to 5, 9 to 5. We're bringing in some very well-known, respected, and successful real estate agents and industry professionals from across the city. And we're going to be talking about how to run your real estate business as a business versus being a real estate agent.
Smart.
Which is absolutely crucial, in my opinion, to the health and sustainability of us as real estate agents. As technology is starting to become more of a play, we all need to be looking at our business as a business. Yep. So this event, January 22nd, I think it's at Carr. Yeah, it is at Carr, at the Realtor Building. It's going to be 4 or 5 different breakout sessions, I think hour and a half each, that dive deep into the overall structure of running a business. So tax, it talks about how to plan your business, how to set the goals, how to look at your finances. Yep. It's going to be a lot of different things. I don't have the topics on hand. It's about building your community. I know we have Nick Liebert coming in for that one. We're going to have Josh Weinberg as one of our leaders, Janine McShay. I know I'm missing 3 or 4 people, but real packed kind of list of or lineup of people that are just going to provide a ton of good knowledge to people that want to come and learn this stuff.
Awesome.
And then our second one is the kickoff mixer. You got to be there January 31st.
I'll buy a bunch of tequila, guys.
Yeah, this is always a huge event. This is always a really fun one.
I'm not on the board now. I can buy all the tequila I want.
Yeah, we'll get some Don Julio there for you to make sure. But yeah, that'll be an awesome event. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce that one yet.
Okay.
But yeah, January 31st, location to be determined. Come on out, learn more about the YPN, and help us kick off the new year.
Always a good time. Always nice to get a bunch of realtors together to collaborate. I always work best when I know the person on the other side. So be social with your fellow realtors. I love the this is new this year, what you guys are doing on the 22nd. Yeah. I love it. I coach and train relentlessly. You're not a salesperson. You're a business owner. I have a 30-page business booklet that looks into your past year's business, how to plan it, your strengths, your weaknesses, how to reinvest in your business, and all that stuff that all my realtors get. And I attribute the success we've had in the last 3-4 years. We're a very new company, and every year we're getting bigger, and the agents are doing better. And these are all agents that started with almost no production. To literally the fact that these guys have implanted, and guys and gals have implanted in their minds, you're not a salesperson, you're a business owner. Yeah. What your brokerage should be to a real estate broker is a consultant to help you, the business owner, grow your business, because that's what it should be. So I love that you guys are doing that. That I think is one of the coolest things the YPN can do going forward, because there's a lack of it. I know you look at it that way. I know, the Tommies and the Joes and everybody at Keller, those guys are obviously very good at doing this, but they're the minority. Yeah. They're exceptional at what they do. You're exceptional at what you do, and that's why you guys are successful. But the industry is not teaching that,
and that's what
unfortunately.
I see that as a huge opportunity, and I almost feel that is my responsibility coming into YPN as the vice chair, is to shed some light on some of the things that I've been learning that have truly changed my business and my life ever since I joined Keller Williams. Yeah. I get to rub shoulders with the Tommies, the Joshes, the Joes, all those people.
Big boys.
And I've just learned so much about how to run a business. And like I said, I think as we're entering a shifting market and a shifting industry at large, the better, the more skills that we have and the better business owners that we are, we're the ones that are going to, live through any cycles, because things are going to repeat themselves.
Every business goes up. It goes. Yeah. Every market that goes up goes down and goes back up
100%.
Again. It's the test of time. It's always going to happen.
Yeah. So we're just bulletproof in our business, and that is, you're going to see that as a common theme, I think, moving into this year with YPN, is we're restructuring some things to make sure that we get that message across, that we're not real estate agents, we're real estate business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yep. I love it. And I think if the young people, I want to say relatively young, anybody can go to YPN events. Even old guys like John can show up.
Everyone's invited.
You thought 2019 would start and I wasn't going to hassle you? But anybody can go to these events. But I think if the younger, and not even younger, the younger in their career realtors begin to understand that they have to start creating their careers as businesses, as a collaborative industry, we can battle 100%. The technology that's really trying to swallow up our profession.
It's a ripple effect. I truly believe in the ripple effect. And if I would have known what I know today, you could say this, hindsight's 2020.
Rich.
But I'd be in a completely different place. I mean, the last year and a half, I've taken in so many new things. I credit this to my company. Yeah. And I think now I feel that responsibility and that obligation to take what I have learned and share that with as many people as I can.
Perfect. Well, and let me touch on your other YPN duties, because I want to touch on that before we go, because we are past the hour. But you're doing a totally different YPN too, right?
Yeah. So the one we were just talking about is the Chicago Association of Realtors Young Professional Network. The other one that I'm the president of and co-founder.
Look at that. He's a president and a vice president. I don't think you can even be that in this world.
Yeah, I got my hands in a few different things, but all things I'm super passionate about. And essentially what that one is it's the Keller Williams Young Professional Chicago chapter.
Okay.
And it emulates a lot of what we're talking about with really the three keys of KWYP, which is what we call it, is collaboration, education, and camaraderie. So by combining education and collaboration, it naturally will create a sense of community and camaraderie amongst ourselves, so that, I love this quote and I use it all the time, but a high tide rises all ships. So the better that we can prepare people and kind of, force that into people's minds is, the more that will ripple throughout everyone else. So that's super cool. That's more of a local Keller Williams thing
for you.
But yeah, man, it's all really cool stuff.
Shout out to Tommy too. I know we've shouted out to him a couple times, and I say this a lot to him.
Presidente.
And then he's a very humble guy, but I've told him this for a very long time.
Uh-oh. I gotta stop you real quick.
What?
Don't say humble. Tommy hates the word humble.
Oh, what should I call him?
I don't know. Just good dude.
All right. Hey,
he's going to call you out.
Hey, good dude.
He hates the word humble.
Well, you're going to hate it. I just used it.
Look up the word humble in the dictionary and decide for yourself if that's what you want people to think of you as.
Interesting. I don't know what the definition of it is. But he doesn't ever – he's not – there's some showboats in Chicago real estate. Let me rephrase it. And there's some people that have a hint of arrogance to the way they do things. And that's okay. There's you can be that way sometimes. But Tommy has always held himself to such a high standard, and he coaches and he trains in a way that doesn't make you feel like he's making himself out to be better than you. He always relates it really easily to everybody. He is a guy I've always looked up to, and I've said this to him. I said, if I had to pick a dude in Chicago real estate that I look up to, and I look up to a lot of them, but if I had to pick the one, I look up to Matt Laracy a lot for what he does with his team and how he's, his exponential growth. I love watching his work ethic, his marketing. I love it. From a kind of leadership, coaching and training aspect, which is what I do day to day a lot. I look up to Tommy so much. So, shout out to Tommy. I mean, he's just a
grow through gratitude, right? That's
yeah.
his slogan for his campaign and for his presidential year is grow through gratitude. And that is somebody that's walking the talk.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah.
He's no bullshit. Everything that he is coaching and training you, he's doing.
Yep.
He's also got the best socks game in Chicago real estate.
I've learned so much from that guy, how to dress, how to be grateful.
Yeah.
I would not be involved in YPN or KWYP or giving back to my community at the levels that I am today if it weren't for him. So
yeah.
He knows this, but I'm super appreciative.
There's
for him.
probably a lot of people in Chicago real estate whose careers have been impacted in a very meaningful way thanks to him. Mine has. I look up to him. I listen. I read everything he puts out. Every time there's a video where Tommy is spitting knowledge, I'm listening.
Yep.
So do you think we might be able to get Tommy to come in and sit down?
I bet you Tommy would for sure.
The whole humble thing, why he doesn't like it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he would love to.
Learn a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm Tommy Choi. We're gonna reach out to you.
Tommy, you're next, buddy.
I'd love to have him on.
You're coming into the wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean,
he drops dimes every time I listen to that guy talk. I mean, he would like to say it melting. He likes to melt faces.
Yeah.
Every time I leave a conversation with that guy, my face is melted off.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the perfect person to lead our industry, especially going into a time like this.
100%.
I shout out to Tommy Choi. So you got and Joe and everybody else there.
That's just one person. Yeah. It takes a team to do all this
Mr. Weinberg is a rock star. I love working with him too.
There's so many people. I mean, I could go Keller Williams. I could go outside of the industry. You, John. I've learned something from everybody.
Yep.
And I think having that, to kind of wrap this up, to have that learning-based mindset and to always aspire for more, to go after it every day, to be 1% better, to learn that one more thing from that one more person. I think as long as you have that mentality moving forward, everything's going to be okay.
It's our good old buddy who was on the show, Evan Shio. He says, be 1% better every day.
Yeah.
And every time I would work out with him or train with him, that was kind of the thing he beat in my head. You don't have to be 100% better today. You got to be 1% better every single day.
Small wins.
Small wins.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. I mean, I can't wait to air this whole thing. We're gonna repost it and air it, and then for those of you who watch this after it airs, put your questions for this guy or for me or for John in the comment section, because I know we went through a ton of good information about goal setting, motivation, breaking your goals down, and I'm sure you would answer the questions. And
of course.
You're the type of guy who loves mentoring people. So I'm happy to do it too. Definitely ask your questions in the comment section. And if you have any questions, give us a shout, because that was the perfect episode to kick off the year. It was one of those things where you motivated me. I'm sure people listening are motivated by it, because most of the people listening definitely don't have your work ethic. And they could learn a thing or two from your work ethic.
I appreciate that, and thanks, John, and you for having me on again. I think, like I said, nothing is ever perfect. So this time of year, it's easy to be super motivated.
Yep.
But it's every single day, putting in the work, and I think you'll realize over time that those big goals are very, very attainable.
Build those habits.
100%.
Yep.
We're going to shout out who we have next week, John, before we go?
No, we have a couple things up in the air, so I don't want to announce anything and have it not be 100%.
Top
but
secret.
We have, the show that we just started out with Jordan, unbelievable. Normally we ask straight up, we'll say a piece of advice you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs, but you drop like 8, 10, 12 different subject bullet points and then explain them. We didn't have to ask. You were killing it.
I appreciate that.
As far as the upcoming schedule, I'm so happy with what we just did, and we've got quality coming through the door.
Yeah.
Just like Jordan, different subjects, but man, I can't wait for 2019.
I got my buddy Brad Anastasia coming on in 2 weeks. Brad wrote a book about happiness. I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah.
You're going to appreciate that one, Jordan. He traveled. He was a very successful guy that ended up semi-retiring himself and then traveling to South America and living very below his means. Came back. He's working now. He's made a lot of investments, and he wrote a book on happiness, and it's you can download the audiobook, you can get the book. It's having him on to just talk about how to maintain happiness is going to be a really cool show. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff in the works.
We do. We have some.
And I agree. I mean, Jordan, I'm going to say this again. I envision in the next couple years you're going to be coaching and training a mega team in Chicago, and you guys are going to be killing it because you're the type of guy where you're going to be able to get 2, 3 agents, 4 agents under you, 5 agents under you. And the same way Tommy or a Matt Laracy were able to motivate and inspire the people. One of the reasons mega teams are so good at what they do is because the Tommies and the Weinbergs and the Matt Laracys, they're inspirational people to the people that they're leading, and you have those qualities. So I think before we know it, they're gonna have a hard time holding you behind them.
I appreciate that, man. You know, I'm going after it. So.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna get there. I mean, I do this. I coach and train so much, and I'm not only saying this because you're on the show, and I would have said this 3 years ago. I know people who are going to be very successful, and I don't want to say this in a bad way towards anybody I work with. I think anybody in any of the offices can be the most successful guy or gal in Chicago real estate. But and I tell everybody this, real estate is simple, but it's not easy. Nothing in real estate is rocket science, but the work ethic it takes to improve yourself, to learn as much as you've learned, not just about real estate. Once you do a couple showings, you know how to do that, but to learn about psychology, life, business, and then be able to translate that to the people working with you is a really difficult skill set to learn. And once you have it, very few people have that. Mm-hmm. And you have that at a very high level. So excited to watch you start dicing it out with those guys at the top.
No, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun journey. It's going to be a lot of learning lessons. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready to take it on. Well,
thanks for coming on. Thanks for all the knowledge. Like John said, you spat tons of knowledge. It felt like I had Tommy Choi Jr. in here.
You can tell they rub off a little
TC
bit.
Jr. in here. But thanks for coming on, dude. Can't wait to maybe do some triathlons with you.
Let's do it. Maybe get eaten by some sharks.
Maybe get eaten by some sharks. I'm not going to announce it outright, but maybe do a little bit of sparring because Ryan Cotter would have killed me if I didn't say maybe he's going to do the real estate rumble.
We'll see if I make a return to the ring this year. But no, honestly, I'm just super grateful for you guys. You've both been huge, integral people in my life over the past 5 years. So to have the honor to come on the WheelHouse show today was a true pleasure.
Appreciate having you, buddy. And looking forward to seeing you at the YPN stuff this month.
Sounds good. Everyone make it a great year.
Yeah. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks.
See you guys next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Thank you for listening to us. That was a kick butt show.
That was a kick butt show in 3,